In this video I want to teach you how to produce a mobile responsive landing page like this one in 10 minutes or less. I'll just show you around this one. For instance, you have a countdown to an open house. You may not want all this, by the way, all this information on your landing page, but I'm going to show you how to put it all on and how to take off the bits that you don't want. So you have a countdown to an open house. Then you have, for instance, a video here, which is just a simple series of images that have just been put together as a video so that people can actually see the property. If I scroll down a little bit further, this isn't the real address obviously, but you can put an address in here. There's a click to call button here so that anybody looking at this landing page can call you straight away, so that would be your number behind that button. Then you have a location so that you have the map of the address and get directions. And then last but by no means least, you can put a selection of, if you have other listings that you think people who are interested in this listing might be interested in, then you can put them on here and have a separate landing page for all of these properties. These don't work at the moment because they don't actually go anywhere because they're obviously not real. This is just to show you what you can do. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do very, very quickly. So here we are back in the system. So the first thing to do is to go into the coupons. The first thing that you'll notice in the mobile coupon builder is the page that you end up on is the dashboard page, and on here you'll be able to find the statistics for all your pages, so you'll know how many people have visited it, how many times they've viewed it. So the first thing that you need to do is to come to the settings page. Now this button, I don't know whether you can see that actually, there's a share location button just popped up on my browser bar. You don't need it at this stage. You may not need it at all, so don't worry about it. The only thing I would say on here is to select your time zone, okay? So make sure that you have the right time zone for where you are. Obviously I'm in the UK, so we'll go and find Europe, London, so there we go. And then I will just save that. Saved successfully, that's all you need to do. Then you need to come into pages. Now the landing page builder is incredibly intuitive, very simple to use. So let me just show you here. Page title. Now for the page title I would put whatever reference number you want to use. So if it's an MLS number, so if I call it MLS 456, then call it that. Okay. You can use an image as background. I prefer to use a colour. The main background colour, if you tap in there, you'll simply get one of these colour boxes and you can pick. Now the colours that you're picking are going to be showing up in here. You can just see there's a little circle down there. Put your crosshair on there and click and drag, and you can see the colour changing around here all the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it quite dark because that shows up quite well on a mobile phone. Once you've picked a colour that you like, come over here and press this button here, and that will select the colour that you've just chosen. The address you don't need. A border thickness, it depends on whether you want a border. I would play around with it and see what you like. Personally, I don't like a border, so the thickness is irrelevant, but the thickness will be in the number of pixels. As I say, I just recommend that you just play with it, experiment with it and see what you like. Okay. Because you're not having a border, you don't need to worry about the border colour, and the custom code, don't worry about. Now you make the page by using widgets, and these are all the widgets that are available. Okay, so as you can see there's a number of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you all of the ones that I would use, show you how to use them, and then you can choose what you want to do yourself. So I would use a head. The page that I just showed you uses the following. Okay, so we have a headline, followed by the countdown timer, followed by video. The address is put in with another headline widget. Then you have a click to call button, which we put on here. Then we showed people where it was and how to get there by putting a map. And then the rest of it was done with what's described as a simple button. Now that's all you need to do as far as getting those ready is concerned. these move. If you don't like the position of them, you just click and drag and drop them wherever you would like. Okay, I'm just going to put them back because, as I say, I'm just going to show you how to build the one that I showed you before. So if you use the drop down arrow here and headline text, I would recommend that you simply use, rather than trying to be fancy and put an image here, although you can, I would simply use text. Alright, and in our fictitious example here, we go 4-star realty. Okay, the only bit of code that you need to know, there are two things. One is the P tag and one is the BR tag. Okay, now this is the P tag, P for paragraph. So if you want a space, a line space between 4-star realty and your MLS number or your reference number, put a P tag there. Alright, that will give you effectively that. Okay, so when you come to doing, let's say, MLS, what did I call it? 456? Can't remember now. What did I call it? Let's just scroll back up here. Yes, I did MLS 456. So if you're going to go MLS 456, oh, let's not put a gap in there. MLS 456 and virtual tour. It will look pretty much like that with that line space in there. If you don't put the tag in, then you won't get that space. Font size, up to you. I do 20. It's around about there. You don't need to put the px in for the pixels, but that's the size. Font color, you do exactly the same as you did before to choose the color. I happen to know the color that I want here, which is that color. So I'm just going to choose that. The text alignment is centered. If you want to use an image, your logo or whatever here, then you simply press that and upload your image. But bear in mind that we will only take JPEG images, not PNG images. PNG images are ones with a transparent background, and that's what you would need, generally speaking, so that the colour of the background that you've chosen will show through your logo. Otherwise you'll just get a block of whatever shape your logo is, which is why I recommend that you just stick with text. But it's up to you. It's something that you can do if you want to. Background colour, I'm not going to choose. The font size we've already done. Beg your pardon, I do mean background colour. I am going to choose. Beg your pardon. And again, I know what colour it is, and it's actually I'm going to make it black. All right, so the background colour is black. Okay. Now fonts, you've got choice of hundreds of fonts that you can use. Okay, you can choose them according to, these are all Google fonts, so you can choose them according to alphabet, according to the date that they were put up, or the most popular. And then when you do that, you can see the names of all of them. If you pick one, then it will show up. We've got Nunitu here, but if you want to change it, then you just pick one and it will show you an example of what it looks like. Okay, so you get the idea. So if you want to leave it like that for now, doesn't matter. Okay, so we have no border. I don't want any border, and transparent background. Okay, we simply do that. I beg your pardon. Okay, and then hit the save button. Okay. Now once you've done that, what you will find is that what you've just created shows up down here. Alright, so MLS 456 shows up down here. Okay, so if you want to view the page, then press that and you can see what we've done so far, which won't be a lot. Okay, that's what we've done so far, which, as I say, is not a lot. What you have to remember with this is that it is a responsive page, so the smaller you make your browser, the smaller that will become. Okay, so this will show up very well in anything from a full desktop to an iPad or a tablet down to a phone of any size. Okay, it will just shrink to fit. So let's go back here and continue with what we were doing. Okay, the countdown timer. Now the countdown timer, all you need to do is add in the date. Now it's easier for me because I'm over here in the UK, but in actual fact I think this is backwards for those of you in the States, so it's the day, the month and the year, not the month and the day. Okay, so day, month, year, which is the normal way that we do it, but I don't think it is for you, but anyway, it's something you just have to remember. And then the time. Okay, now the timer text, if you read the bottom here, it says, sorry, my mouse is getting in the way, you may use %timer % to display the countdown time. Alright, so if you want to display it, then you do this. Okay, so if we're going to go open house in, now remember at this point that we want it on a separate line, so as before we put a P tag in there, then just put in %timer % and it will show up whatever is left on the timer. The opacity, you don't want it to be see-through, so just put 1. The font size, again, you need to experiment, but let's make it that. Font color, then I have a color that I like, and then just make transparent, oops, and no border again. Okay, that's the countdown timer. Now the headline, this time we're going to put in the address. Oh, you know what I've forgotten? Where did the image... I know, sorry, we seem to have misplaced the image. Let's pop that in there. Okay, now here you can use a series of images. If you want to use a series of images, then you can upload them one at a time. Okay, so again, JPEGs only please, and please make sure that they are small file sizes. Remember that these are going to be shown up on mobile devices, and therefore really the smaller the better. You shouldn't really need an image that's much bigger than 480 by 480, and they will shrink to fit all the size devices just like everything else. If you can host it somewhere else, then enter the URL. So if it's on a website currently and you just want to enter the URL, it will show up, it'll feed through and show up on the page anyway. If you do a video, please use a video URL, so put it on YouTube, okay, because the bandwidth associated with endless videos will push the price up for everybody. We need to be realistic about this, okay, so please put your video on YouTube or Vimeo or wherever, and then simply enter the URL of wherever you've hosted it, okay. Now the video that we've used on this, I'm just going to get off screen, I'm going to get the address, and we just pop the address in here, and this is a YouTube video. Okay, now the height in pixels is you need to put in, but the width, if you leave it empty, then it will again fit the screen. Now it says 250, actually personally I prefer 300 and leave the width alone. If you want it to autoplay and loop, you can tick either of these boxes. I'm not going to do either. And again, no border and a transparent background just means that we can see the colour that we've done behind this. Okay, so that's that. Now, as I was going to do before, the address. Now on this, just for speed's sake, I'm just going to take the address that we had before. Now here's the BR tag. Now all the BR tag does is start a new line. So it just starts a new line. So if you don't put that in, when you come to look at your page, you'll find this is all on one line. So if you want to start separate lines but no line gap in between, in other words, you don't want it to look like that. Okay, you don't want separate lines in between. If you did, then you put the P tag on, but if you just want a new line to start, then put the BR tag on. Those are the only bits of HTML that you will ever need. Font size on this one, a little bit smaller. Font color, again I've got one off screen which I'll just pop in, but you can choose whatever color. Oops, you can choose whatever color. Again, you want this, by the way, will change the hue. If you don't know, that will change the hue. Okay, there's about 60 million different colors you can get on this. Okay, and just move it around until you find one. I already have a... You don't have to put it in there, by the way, but you can put it straight in the box if you want to. It's up to you. Background color. Again, I have a background color. You can have fun playing with this. It's not an exact science, it's whatever you like. I happen to like dark backgrounds on phones, they show up pretty well, but it's entirely up to you. Again, you can choose the the text that you want, sorry, the font that you want. So if we did something like that, and again, no border and a transparent background, click the button. The click to call button, very simple. You might want to say call me now, or click to call, or whatever. You put your own phone number in there, or when the system goes live, if you want to put a tracking number in there, you can put a tracking number in there which will then also call you, but via this number, so that it will track who calls you, where they call from, and all the rest of it. So if you want just a series of random numbers for now, so put your phone number in there. Then we have the button background color, and now the button hover cover, because you know buttons on the internet, on the websites, change color when you hover over them, so you just choose a different color for it when you hover, that's all. So the button hover color, the button hover color will just be something different. The font's color is just going to be white, and the font size we'll make, say, 16. Okay, no border, no border, no background color. And that's the click to call button. Your map, get directions. All you need to do for this is to put your cursor in there and the map will pop up. You'll probably get, because I'm not where you are, I can't for sure say this, you should probably get a different map to the one that I have here, but you know how to use these Google Maps, and you can just slide them around, or you can, if you're in completely the wrong place, then you can come out and then locate yourself, and then locate the property that you're doing from that, or you can simply put the address in. It's, you know, it really is that simple. If we just pick point A and we just pick it up and plop it somewhere for now, put it there, and it'll put the address in for you. Simple as. Zoom level, anything from 1 to 16. They suggest 8 to 14. I usually put in about 11, which I find to be quite detailed enough, but it's, you know, entirely up to what you think and experiment. Have a look. Add get directions. I would always add get directions because you want people to know how to get there. Again, no border, transparent background, easy enough. Simple button is probably the longest one to do, because here you'd be able to link to any other pages that you want. Okay, so first of all, we're going to add in one or two other properties that we have for sale, perhaps. Okay, so the button background, again, button hover color, and the font color, which is going to be black. Again, you can use a background image if you want, or you can use a background color. Center what you're going to write on it. We have no border, transparent, and then we want the button label, and the button label will simply be whatever you want it to be, and I suggest that you might want to put an address, okay, so that people know where they're going. So if you put the address, it's got to fit on the width of a button. That's the only thing you have to remember. The button URL, these buttons will not work without a URL, so you're going to have to do a little bit of backward and forward. So until you create a landing page, you're not going to have a URL, but this button won't work until you put a URL in. So if you see what I mean, you have to basically come back and fill the URLs in once you've done the landing pages. Okay, for the purposes of this demonstration, all I'm going to do is use one of the ones that I've got down here. So just do that, cut and paste, and pop it on there. When you've done that, if you have another property, you create a new button and you do exactly the same thing. You put the address in, you put the button URL in, and if you have another one, you can make as many as you'd like. Okay, I'm not going to make them all now, but you can make as many as you like. Alright, so close that up, save the entire thing. Okay, and if we just go back to our page here, which looked like that last time we looked at it, let me just and refresh the page. Now we have a fully fledged landing page. Okay, you can do a lot with it that I haven't done. There's your map, there's one button that I put in here which will take you to probably the same thing. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, another version of the same thing. Alright, that is your landing page. Now, as I say, the important thing to remember with these is you can experiment to make them look, I'll just go back to the one we had before. You can experiment with them to make them look how you'd like it to look. As I say, the landing pages are very, very flexible, so if you shrink your browser, you'll find that they shrink to fit. Doesn't matter whether it's a tablet or a phone, but it will shrink to fit whatever size, and it's just responsive. Okay, so you can see it like that. Just to show you the difference very, very briefly, if you go back here and you go back to the main background colour, and let's say you wanted to make the main background colour, let's say it was a dark blue you were after. Okay, do that. Come back down here, save it once more, updated, and then if we go here and update the page once more, and now you have a nice blue background, which you may or may not think is an improvement, but that's how you change it. That's the difference it makes. As I say, play with it, see what you think, and make landing pages that you like. You can see the video stretches because you made the width 100%, so it'll stretch to fit whatever you've got, whereas the height is rigid and that hasn't stretched. So it's up to you, and that's how you make landing pages really, really quickly. You can make as many as you like, you can use images, you can use video. If you don't like any of these buttons on here, all you need to do to get rid of them is to click the X and they're gone. You can use any of these that you wish. Most of them are not relevant to what you're trying to do. You know, as I say, have fun, experiment, and see what happens. When you come down to the bottom here, you will find a QR code. If you press that button there, you'll find that it will give you a QR code. There's the QR code, which you can then copy and put on your signage. If you wish to use the text messaging integration with this, which after all is what it's all about, then don't use this QR code. Wait, and I'll show you how to use that, to use a QR code to integrate your landing page with a text messaging campaign. I'll see you in the next video.